I never was conditioned to eat healthier or to, drink natural juices and water instead of soda and stuff from the bodega. Like, I was never conditioned to do those types of things. I was conditioned to live this way. So if I'm saying like I don't like going to the gym, it's because probably no one in my family goes to the gym. If I'm saying that, oh, I don't think I could give up candy, it's probably because I was conditioned since I was young to eat candy. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, I would love to talk about the concept of conditioning in the Black community. So if you guys are interested in that topic, then please stay tuned. So let's just hop right into it, right? Earlier today, I did this great meditation, and after I hopped in the shower, I received this wild download, right? So I wanted to come on and share it with you guys because I do feel like it's a very important topic that a lot of us don't really think about. Hopefully you guys can relate and really feel where I'm coming from, and hopefully this can become, a new way of thinking for our people. So basically, the download was about conditioning in the Black community, right? And when it comes to conditioning in the Black community, the basis is that who we are today is not who we really are. What I mean by that is that who we are as a Black people, the things that we do, how we think, the things that we portray in our society, they are not who we are in our souls, and they are not who we are in our hearts. They are not who we are on a soulful, deep level. The things that we do, how we are, how we show up, how we act and react, they are ways of conditioning that were given to us, okay? They are ways of conditioning that were passed down to us, right? So, obviously everyone knows the history of Black people, and when it comes to us creating a community, especially in modern day society, we have to understand that there are a lot of things that are still lingering from the things that we've been through our ancestors, and that is causing us to not truly live in Black excellence. That is causing us to not truly live at the core, at the basic, fundamental level and authentic way as to who we are as a people. So, for example, there are plenty of people that want to live healthier lifestyles and have better looking bodies and things like that, but in the Black community specifically that I'm speaking of, but they say, oh, I don't like going to the gym, or I don't want to change my eating habits and all those things. But you have to understand that you were conditioned to think those ways, to do the things that you're doing and eat the things that you're eating, right? 9 times out of 10, there are people in your family or people in your communities that are promoting the lifestyle and the foods that you eat, right? That's called conditioning, because there are plenty of children that are 7 years old and they're in gymnastics and eating certain ways and living certain lifestyles, right? So it's about the conditioning of how you were brought up. It's not to blame anyone. It's not to say, oh, your parents are wrong for this, or your family or your household is wrong for this. It's to take the fact to understand that they didn't have a choice. They didn't have an option. Like, they were conditioned to cook certain foods and have certain ways of eating and certain lifestyles, right? So as a more conscious and a higher level of thinking that we have in our community, in our society now, it's up to us to really take a step back and think about these things. Like, yo, I never was conditioned to eat healthier or to, drink natural juices and water instead of soda and stuff from the bodega. Like, I was never conditioned to do those types of things. I was conditioned to live this way. So if I'm saying like I don't like going to the gym, it's because probably no one in my family goes to the gym. If I'm saying that, oh, I don't think I could give up candy, it's probably because I was conditioned since I was young to eat candy, right? So you have to really take the time and take control and responsibility of not only your life, but of your future generations to come and your children, right? So another example of this is one that I know is very touchy, but is one that I'm going to use anyway. And it has to do with Black women going out and not presenting themselves in certain ways and times. So when it comes to like wearing bonnets outside and kind of just rolling out of bed and going, stereotypical things, right? Like, we know what I'm talking about. Those are all conditioning. So 9 times out of 10, like, the women in your family probably go out in bonnets and scarves, or the women in your family probably just, like, roll out of bed and not really care about what they're wearing or what they're looking like. So I really wanted to, shed light on this. Like, as a woman, just for me, I'm just being honest, like, I take pride in how I look. I take pride in my health. I take pride in my internal and my external. I believe that how I look externally, how I look, my radiance, my energy, everything on the outside represents my health internally. So I feel like if I'm showing up sluggish and not being able to communicate properly and looking ashy and crusty and not showing up properly, then it says something about me that's not healthy. Whether it's my mental health, whether it's my spiritual health, whether it's my actual gut biome, like, it says something that something's out of order. You understand? So I have to make sure as a woman that I'm taking care of myself, because I understand that, number one, you only get treated as far as how you treat yourself. Your worth is only going to show externally to other people as much as you pour into it. That's just the reality. Like, I could say I'm a goddess and I'm beautiful and all this stuff all day, but if I'm not showing up in a certain way in our community, people are not going to care. They're not going to care about the affirmations I'm saying to myself. They're not going to care about the bad beat music that I'm listening to, because they're going to be like, does she look crazy? You understand what I'm saying? There's always opportunities when you walk outside. So you never know who you're going to bump into, who you're going to meet. I've ran into people on South Street before, celebrities on South Street before. I've ran into so many I've gotten jobs as soon as I've walked in, first day applying to the job, because of how I looked and how I presented myself. Do you understand what I'm saying? If you're single, which I am, I could go out and meet the next man that I'm going to be married to. Like, you never know what's around the corner. So you showing up in a certain way and present yourself in a certain way as a woman is something to really think about, and get out of that conditioned mindset of like, oh, it doesn't matter, they should just accept me for how I am, and all of this stuff. Do you understand? Don't get me wrong, you can do whatever you want. If that's what makes you happy and live in that way makes you happy, then by all means, please do what you want. I'm not trying to change anyone's mind. But what I'm saying is, give it a second thought of the fact of, why is it that I'm doing this? Why is it that as a woman, I don't take pride in how I look? Why is it that as a woman, I don't take pride in moisturizing my skin and smelling good and make sure my hair is done? You have to really take some time to think about that, because never in the history of ever have women been like that. And you have to understand, like, this is really a thing. And it's not, like I said, if you're happy doing it, then do what you want. But what I'm saying is that we've been conditioned to be that way. We have been restricted for a very long time and to put effort into our looks. We've been restricted for a very long time to pour self-love into ourselves, right? So this is a conditioning. This is not just, oh, as a collective of Black women, we don't care about how we look. Instead of putting our hair in a bun or in a ponytail, or putting on like a headscarf real quick and some earrings, we wear a bonnet. It's 2 seconds for both. If you want to do a head wrap, it's just more presentable. But it's like, well, why don't I want to put that effort and energy into my looks? It's a conditioning. So yeah, I really wanted to kind of shed light on this, because it's like, I was raised in the same conditions. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm from North Philadelphia. Like, I was raised in the same conditions. Like, the woman that I was going to become is completely different from the woman that I have become and that I'm working to be. And I had to do that from a conscious mindset. I had to take a step back and realize that the way that I was raised in a single parent household by my mom, I don't want my kids to grow up with a single mom. I don't want that for them. I just truly don't. The way that I was raised by masculine women in my life, I don't want to do that, not only to my children, but to my husband, right? I want them to have a loving, feminine, warm, supportive woman in their life, and mom and wife in their life. You understand what I'm saying? Like, this is coming from a very conscious way of thinking, because it's not just my life that I'm affecting. It's not just all about me. I have other people to think about as time moves on, right? So this is kind of what I wanted to bring to light, because I know that a lot of women and men, it's not just about us, but I am a woman, right? A lot of us don't tend to think in these ways. So I really want to kind of try to get us to start thinking like this, Even when it comes to the men, you have to think like, Are you the type of role model that you want your son to grow up to be? Are you the type of man that you want your baby girl to marry one day? Like, do you understand? How are you showing up for the women in your life? How are you showing up for the women in your community? Do you understand what I'm saying? Because the amount of disrespect and the amount of like harm and violence and stuff that we have going on in our community is absolutely ridiculous. And y'all have to understand that this is a conditioning. We are not just violent people. We are not just harmful people. We don't just innately dislike or hate each other. You understand what I'm saying? And there has to come a time in a conscious awakening, which is the time that we're in now, where we understand as a collective that this is not, that we didn't plan to think this way. We didn't plan to live in poverty. We didn't plan to, live in these close-knit communities where all we have is fast food. Our playgrounds are dirty and our playgrounds have harmful objects where our kids can't even go. Like, we didn't plan to have these things in our lives. This is a conditioning. This is what we were given. Right? And even when we try to build a proper economy for us, it was taken away. And I'm not going to go into that, but you know what I'm saying, if you know what I'm saying. Again, like, I'm not trying to change anyone or how anyone thinks. Like, baby, if it makes you happy, do you. But, you have to understand that what makes you happy may not even be what you decided makes you happy. Like, it may not even be what you think makes you happy, right? So yes, like, it's just so many different levels that we could hit when it comes to this conditioning, from the economy and finances, from health and fitness, from mental health and stability, and spiritual health and stability when it comes to the Black community. Like, so many different topics, baby, and I want to cover all of them, but this is just like a roundabout video of like, we gotta wake up, really taking time to figure out, when did this happen? Because we weren't always like this as people. And in other countries, we're not like this as people. We're not. So thank you guys for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.